Okay, now we're live. This is screwing me up. Hey, everybody, this is Bradley Bender with Semantic Mastery. This is Hump to Hangouts episode 224. It is February 20th, 2019. And I'm sorry I don't have my camera today. For some reason, Google Hangouts decided it did not want to recognize my camera at the last minute. So you guys will probably appreciate the fact that you don't have to look at my face. We only got two people on with me today because Adam and Hernan are out at the Funnel Hacking Live event. So they're out having fun while we're hard at work. And so let me say hi to Chris. What's up, Chris? How are you?
Doing good. Great to be here.
And Marco?
I made it, man. I'm here.
Good. So I don't really have any announcements specifically, except that we've got a mastermind webinar tomorrow for those of you that are in the mastermind. And we're going to be covering several things that I've been tracking for the last few weeks now, as far as doing some off-page tests for ranking GMBs, doing a whole bunch of different types of off-page tests in isolation. In fact, let me see for one moment. I have to pause the screen for a minute. And Marco, do you have any announcements while I do that for a moment?
No, but I'm so glad you're going to talk about this, because my write-up for the mastermind, which I'm finishing up today, by the way, is about that. Testing, whether it's single variable testing or whether it's testing in isolation, or what it actually is that you're trying to do. What you're trying to do is gauge whether there's an effect. You're not trying to show that something doesn't work. It's crazy going in and trying to test that something doesn't work. The test should be, what does it do? You should get the data back. The data should speak for what the test. They're right. You're testing a variable. Does the variable move the needle? No, it doesn't. Okay, on to the next thing, which is what you're doing. You're testing all of these different variables, and you're isolating so that you can do whatever it is that you're doing to each one. So I'm really glad that you're talking about this. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth in the mastermind newsletter about testing and how people are being misled by so-called all of these expert testers that don't know what the fuck they're doing. So I'll just leave it at that. Yeah,
and I've been tracking, well, since around about a month ago. It was around January 21st when I started setting these tests up. And it's I'm testing every one of these methods in isolation. In other words, they're GMB or Google My Business profiles that had the initial on-page stuff done, and what my standard operating procedure is for optimizing a new profile. And then from there, all I'm doing is specifically one of these methods. And I'm testing across multiple properties per method so that I can see if we get positive results or negative results or no results on any one method. I want to see if that occurs across more than one property, right, for the same type of method. Because if we get positive results on two properties, right, if I'm only doing two tests or testing on two locations per method, and they're both positive, then that's a really good indication that that's a viable method or something that moves the needle. And like he says, that's actually funny you said that, because that's the title or the subtitle of the actual test that I'm doing, is which method moves the needle the most. And so these are the different tests that I'm doing. And like I said, if two of them produce, or if a positive result occurs on two properties, two separate locations, then I know that that's likely a good, it's a good method to use, and that it will continue. It will be duplicatable, in other words. And so I will obviously set it up and see if I can repeat it again across other properties. If I get two no changes or two negative changes, then it's probably the case also. But if we get one that's positive and one that's neutral, or one that's positive and one that's negative, then it's obviously going to have to require further investigation. So that's essentially what I'm doing. And I've tried several of these things, and I've got some really super good results back with one of these methods in particular. I'm not going to tell which one here, guys. You got to join the mastermind for that. But I'm going to be covering it tomorrow, because I've got really, really good results from one method in particular. And it's actually one of the easiest methods. And that's what I love about it. And I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm not surprised that the method works because of what I know about that method, but I'm glad that it's one of the easier methods for any one of us to achieve, or to implement, I should say. And so again, I'm going to be covering that in the mastermind webinar tomorrow, as well as I'm also going to be covering some questions about PR stacking from some of our members. I'm also going to be talking about setting up display ads for remarketing using the Google Display Network, because it's a much easier process now, and it's very, very effective. So that's what I've got to tease with for tomorrow. And it looks like we don't have that many questions, but I'm going to get right into it.
I got a question, man.
Go ahead.
Like, I scroll through my Facebook feed like today. Like, people are literally scared of like GMB and Google all of a sudden. And you just were talking about like, yeah, which method is like the most potent or the biggest needle mover of them all? Like, anybody, you want to share your insights on that, Marco or Bradley?
I'll start. Yeah, Armageddon is coming, right? The sky is always falling. Chicken Little type stuff. Oh, and by the way, that screenshot that you're looking at there, guys, that's the tease for tomorrow's webinar and mastermind, because those are the movements that I've seen occur just in the last few days from that one particular method I'm going to be covering. Anyways, Marco and I, well, we've been around long enough to know that shit changes all the time. It's SEO. And, for the last several months, we've been pushing really hard on GMB stuff because it's been working so well. And I've been saying all along that at some point, Google's going to shut it down. It's going to, and I don't necessarily think that existing properties are going to be taken down. What I think is going to happen, and this is just my assumption, guys, my educated opinion about this, or my educated prediction, I should say, is that it's going to become damn near impossible to register new GMB profiles. I think that's how it's going to be shut down. So that's why I've been pushing for people to build for the last several months, and to build your ass off and to build a team for scaling your build processes so that you can secure as many locations as possible prior to what I think is going to happen, which is going to be damn near impossible to register new businesses, because I don't know exactly what they're going to do to shut it down, but it's likely going to be something like having to take photographs at a storefront or at the business location. It could also be and again, guys, this is speculation, but it could also require you to send corporate documents in, or something that shows proof of address with the business name on it. So like a utility bill or something. And I know, because I've actually had to call Google support before to get help moving a legit business for a client of mine, to get the maps listing updated. And that was one of the things they required, was like a bank statement with, the account details and everything could be blurred, but it had to show the company name and the mailing address and all that. So those are things that I assume or that I predict are going to happen. But, we always find workarounds, and we always find ways to continue to make money. And that's really the name of the game, guys. Don't freak out. Don't go into panic mode. Relax. Know that you're going to have other options. We're going to figure them out eventually, and other people will figure them out as well, and you can too. But it's about keeping your head cool and realizing that this is a cat and mouse game that we play, and that's the business that we're in. Marco, what are your thoughts?
I get a little bit more basic, man. I don't care. Why? Because and I say basic because there's basic web principles. What we teach, the foundational stuff that we teach, is based on web principles, right? We're in the semantic web. We all know that, right? Everything, we talk about art, activity, relevance, trust, and authority, and how to generate all that. But getting even more basic, there's foundational principles. You can only code one way. If you write spaghetti code, you're writing garbage that nobody's ever going to be able to tell what it is if someone needs to come and take over. So there's international standards that are set. There are basic principles where the guidelines are set by the guidelines are not set by Google. The terms of service are Google's terms of service, and Google's guidelines are determined by Google. But coding standards are set by other people. And in order for Google to mess with that, Google has to go and push at a higher level with this, a bunch of other people pushing back. I've been talking about this since Semantic Mastery began. Google is the 800-pound gorilla in the room, correct. But there's others. There's others on the web. And Google can't just go and do whatever the fuck they want to do. There's some stuff that they just can't touch. And while that goes on, we'll just keep going and getting the results that we get. And that's what you saw. That test that you're showing, which is beautiful, because it's based on basic foundational principles. That's what we work from. Now, all of these other stuff, yes, they're hacks, guys. We manipulate. That's our job. We're in this to make money. We're not here to make people happy. We're not here to make Google happy. I'm in this to make money. I don't care. They can tell me that it's wrong to do what I'm doing. Well, then Google should go and change their whole scheme for making money online, because it's all based on lies, and it's all based on moving people into their funnel and keeping them there as long as possible. They don't care how they do it. They just want to do it. Well, that's fine. That's their business model. I have mine. And so just to get back to this, basic principles, they still work. Why? Because everyone has to adhere to the same standards, no matter what. That's my rant for today. Well, hopefully.
Yeah, I agree with that. And so, well, let's get into questions, guys. Not a whole lot of questions, and I'm surprised. Maybe it's this new platform that's scaring people off. So, the Discuss platform. All right. Start with
Ben. The sky's always falling.
What's that?
The sky is always falling on that, and some people say it's
Chicken Little. That's Chicken Little, yeah. Okay, so Ben's up. He says, hey, Bradley, thanks for our call last Thursday. Okay, so Ben's one of our mastermind members, and I've been doing mastermind calls. I opened up an opportunity for our mastermind members to schedule a 30-minute call with me, and it started the first week in January, and this is the 7th week that I've been doing those calls. And next week I wrap it up, and then it'll be closed down until June, and in June I'm going to open it back up again. And I encourage our mastermind members that even scheduled a call with me in this first round to schedule a second call with me in June, because in 6 months you will have hopefully overcome some of the issues that we discussed on our call, and hopefully you have a new set of issues. And I really want to continue to find out what's going on with our members. It's been super insightful for me to learn more about what's going on. Well, first, to get to know our members on a more personal level. That's been it's been great. It really has been. I've really enjoyed the calls. But number two, it's given us a lot of insight as to what's going on in our mastermind, which is our top level program, what's going on in our members' businesses, so that we can develop better tools and resources and training to help them overcome their obstacles. And it really has been beneficial to me, as well as hopefully to others. And so that's what Ben is referring to here. And he says, thanks for our call last Thursday. It was good to talk to you, and I got a lot out of it. Well, thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. He says a couple of questions. Number one is Local GMB Pro included in the mastermind? Not that I need it. Local Lease Pro is looking pretty comprehensive as I go through it. I'm just curious, as it doesn't recognize my new username. Yeah, no, that's an additional. We had Rob Beal collaborate on that with us, and so there is an additional charge for that. But as a mastermind member, you get it at like a silly, ridiculous discount from what the advertised price is. If you look at the sales page publicly, just contact support when you're ready for that, Ben. But since I did talk with you, trust me, you're not ready for that yet. Go through Local Lease Pro, start implementing those strategies, provided that they're still going to work, depending on what happens with the GMB stuff going forward. Yeah, as it stands right now, it's still working just fine. But just keep in mind that you should be implementing that right now. And then the Local GMB Pro training would really be more about assets that need the additional push, or if you're in super competitive areas, that's where you're going to want to implement Local GMB Pro. But that's not something that I would recommend you start with right now. You're going to be overwhelmed. And I know you and I talked about that. Do not overwhelm yourself with too much training. I'd rather you take action. And Local Lease Pro is set up for actionable, with actionable data, actionable information for you to go out and implement immediately to start building. And that's the most important thing. Okay. So good question. But yeah, as a mastermind member, you'll get a significant discount on that when you're ready. But I can tell you right now, you're not ready for that. Okay. Number two, he says, you said you were a former shiny object syndrome sufferer. Yes, I was. That's absolutely true. I think most of us in this industry or in this space are. Or have suffered with that, and maybe still do at this point. As an SOS shiny object syndrome sufferer is so clearly at the root of my lack of progress to this point. I was wondering what it was that helped you turn the corner. You are clearly totally recovered and in control today. Yeah, you know what it was? Honestly, it was kind of a perfect storm in that, I was trying to do too many things and trying to be, trying to not only teach on too many different topics as far as digital marketing, but I was trying to do too many things for my agency and provide too many services. And what happens is I became overwhelmed with chasing you know, different methods and trying to implement every method that I could learn about. So every time I saw a marketing email come through with a new, and you guys know, I'm sure you are all on a million email list too, I would get, you know, the same type of emails you guys would about new methods, about new tools and processes and things like that. And I would get sucked in, and I would see the grass is always greener, right? I would see opportunity that I thought, oh, you know, as an entrepreneur, I would see opportunity and I'd want to go after it. I'd want to chase it. But what happened was over time, things started to accumulate and accrue to the point where, you know, I had 15 projects going on and none of them were really progressing because I was spread too thin across too much. And we as a corporation, Semantic Mastery, kind of suffered that for a period of time too. And in part, you know, I'm the face of the company, I should say, and not to discredit my partners or anything, but in part because I was doing that in my own business as well, right? And so we were kind of going that way with Semantic Mastery, trying to be too many things to too many people. And so really what happened was and fortunately my partner Adam, he's not here today, but he introduced us to a book by Gino Wickman, I think it is, called Traction. And it's a program for really zeroing in on a singular focus and purpose for a company, for any organization. And we've been working through that now, guys. What are we, over a year now into that Traction? I think, aren't we on our 5th quarter now? Somebody want to comment on that?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what quarter we're on.
I think we're on our 5th quarter now. Anyways, we've been and we do everything now. It's kind of a combination of various methods, but you know, like the 12-week year is one of the books that we provide to our mastermind members when they come join. Another one is That One Thing. That's another book where it teaches you how to really focus in on one thing to get results and find out what is the most important thing, the one thing that I can do such that everything else becomes irrelevant or you know, less important or irrelevant or something like that. It's a great book. And then there's the 12-week year, which is about taking 12-month goals and boiling them down into 12 weeks, which is a 90-day period. And what we call them 12-week sprints. So it's a quarter, right? A quarter every year. And so we started implementing these strategies, and then Traction really kind of started giving us the organizational structure as a corporation to start developing our goals, figuring out what our primary focus was going to be, zeroing in on that, and then building out our processes and systems to achieve those goals. And like I said, I think we're on our 5th quarter of that process now. And that's why over the last probably 6 months or so, you guys have been following us have probably noticed we've really shifted to just local marketing stuff. Not that we don't still talk about and teach and share and present information in the mastermind about all types of marketing, but our primary push is local. And that's because I needed to do that in my own business in order for me to get better results for my clients, to increase my own income, and to get some of my time and my sanity back, because I was just all over the place and it was overwhelming and flat. Honestly, it was exhausting. And so, and also, as you guys know, there's shit changing all the time in the digital marketing space. And so having to stay on the cutting edge of everything is incredibly difficult. And so I really wanted to shift my focus into something that I preferred, which was local marketing. I also feel that that's one of the quickest ways to earn revenue is local marketing. And so I kind of shifted to that. And we took several surveys of you guys, our members, to find out that that's what the vast majority of our audience was doing, was local marketing or lead generation, that kind of stuff. And so we really shifted all of our focus to that. So again, then to answer your question, how I got over it was kind of a combination of recognizing the fact that I was really spinning my wheels and not making any progress in a lot of different areas because I was going after too many things. My attention was spread too thin. And then also, again, when the teacher is ready, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Adam kind of presented us or brought to our attention like this Gino Wickman Traction program, and they call the EOS, I guess, the Employee Operating System, and all this stuff. Just get the book, guys. It's inexpensive, and go through it. And it's a lot of work. We've been at it for 5 months now, or 5 quarters now. I think 5 quarters. And it's a lot of work, but it's totally worth it because we're seeing the benefits and the fruits of the work that we're putting in. And so a combination of those two things for me really kind of got me to stop. Like, guys, I'm not kidding. I've unsubscribed from just about every single email list. And I got, one specific email that I would always sign up for stuff. And now, because over the years I've subscribed to so many lists, I've unsubscribed from just about everything. But yet I still get emails from for internet marketing products and stuff all the time from stuff that I've never even subscribed from. And you guys know how that goes. People sell lists, and your name gets passed, your email gets passed around from one list to another, whether you subscribed or not. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I every single time every single day now, when I get a marketing email, unless it's from somebody that I want to be on their list, I go find the unsubscribe button. As soon as I open the email, hit the unsubscribe button, and then I come back and hit the spam button. And I do it every fucking day, every single day. And you know, some days I might only get one email now. Other days I might get 5 or 6 spam type marketing emails. But I do the same thing. I open them up. I don't even read them. I just go right, find the unsubscribe button, click unsubscribe, and then I come back and hit the spam button. And what it's done is it's really reduced the amount of junk that I see on a daily basis, because it's like, and I was telling this to Ben when we had our mastermind call, it's like being an alcoholic and going to a bar, right? So when you open your email account, if you know you have shiny object syndrome and you're not getting any traction in any one area of your business because you keep chasing opportunity, stop going into your email box and reading these emails, guys. Stop. It's like, you know, get yourself out of the bar if you're a recovering alcoholic, right? It's the same principle. You know, you need to avoid the shit that's detracting from you being able to make progress in your business. And so for me, it was just eliminating the marketing messages. I'm a marketer, so I'm susceptible to marketing messages, right? And so for me, it was just avoiding them, out of sight, out of mind, and putting blinders on, putting my nose down, and working through what I knew I needed to do. And that was local marketing. And right now it's about building the lead gen business and developing processes so that I'm not doing all the work, and in teaching our members about what I'm doing and how we're doing it, right? And so that's what's worked for me. Any of you guys have comments on that?
Yeah, you probably should read the latest mastermind issue, like for February, because what I wrote about is pretty much what you just talked about, but on steroids. So like, if you're struggling with that, there's something really, really valuable in there for this month.
It's awesome.
I will not reveal everything. So like, for mastermind members, you can be looking forward to some really sweet stuff. And I recommend you check it out as well, Bradley.
Sure will. Marco?
Well, the way that I stopped is I realized that we're producing better shit than most people out there. And so I focus on our own things. And I know that you focus the mastermind, or the mastermind's focus is local. But I'm still in the lab looking at manipulation methods for national, global, just whatever, because that's just how my mind works. I can't just do the local thing and be happy. I have to be able to see like where all of the algorithms are going, where Google is going, where it's taking us, and why, and then try to intercept at the right time, which is, you know, kind of like how RYS Academy was born. Then RYS Reloaded, Local GMB Pro, as a matter of fact, came through because of that. It was just looking to see where Google was going and why. So I'm constantly after that. Where's Google going? Why? And so as long as I'm on that, like, I don't care about somebody else's shit, because I'm too busy with my own shit. That's how I was able to overcome. We've all been there. If you've been online for any length of time, it could be a week, you bought something. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. That's a great question, Ben. I really appreciated that question. So hopefully that was helpful. Ken, what's up? Kenny says, are both G+ personal business profiles going away, or is it just personal? I believe it's all Google+, unless I think the only Google+ that's going to remain, and I could be wrong about this, guys, but I'm pretty sure that they're all being killed off, unless you're what they call Google+ Enterprise, which is only for it's like internal Google+ for large organizations. And I don't even know anything about it. I just read somewhere about it. So as far as I know, Google+ is being completely killed. I think in April, it's going to be down completely. Like you won't be able to access even your old stuff. I got notifications, dozens and dozens of notifications about it, where they say if you got any photos in Google+, they tell the notification or the emails told you how to go download the photos and all that kind of stuff. So that because in April they're gone, that's it, they're extinct. And whatever, good riddance, no big deal. Move on, Which, by the way, guys, we covered the Google+. Oh yeah, guys, if you were in the Syndication Academy and you didn't watch the update webinar from last week, go back and watch it. I mean, literally, as soon as Hump Day Hangouts is over, go watch it, because it's super, super powerful. what I was talking about in that, because one of the things I was covering was Google Plus being shut down. You know, we had a lot of people comment and question about, well, what's going to happen because Google Plus is down and that's one of our main social hubs. Yeah, so what? We find others. And I shared exactly what I'm using now, which is so much more effective anyways. And it's really, really powerful. So if you're in Syndication Academy, guys, go watch the update webinar that was just recorded last week. It's in the archives area, the updates area, along with all the notes and everything in there. It's super powerful and it's easy to do. Okay. All right, so I'm going to keep on moving. Jay says, what's up, Jay? He says, inside the GMB, what photo selection option is it that dictates which image is displayed in Google Maps? I've tried several options there, but it won't change. Yeah, I've had that issue in the past too, Jay. I don't know. Maybe Marco has an answer. I've tried in some cases to get an image to change to and not been able to get it to change. I just don't even care at this point. I know some clients do, but I have. It's not been a major issue for me, so I haven't dug into it that much. Marco, do you have an idea as to what you can do to get Google to display what you want?
No, I don't have an answer for that. It sometimes displays the latest one. It sometimes displays what it wants to. I don't know. You know, if you have like a GMB that is legit, right? That is tied to a company or whatever, you might want to get in touch with a Google rep and see if they can help you out. Because sometimes if you act really ignorant, if you act really stupid, like you don't know what's going on, they'll really help you out. They'll go out of their way to help you out. I found that like the more ignorant you act and the more that they I don't know. Well, browse. Oh, you mean like Chrome? I mean, you go that deep into just being just totally blissfully ignorant about everything online because you're a business owner who doesn't have time for all of this. The only people who have time for this are marketers who are in there, right, trying to manipulate every day. We're the first ones that find out like what doesn't work and what does. So you want to try to avoid being that know-it-all marketer, because if you do that, you're going to get nuked. Your IP is going to get tagged, and you're in for a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I agree. If it's a legit business, man, just contact Google My Business support. You know, again, if it's legit, verifiable business, guys, I don't have any problem contacting support anymore. I found them to be quite helpful when needed. So again, don't be afraid to do that. I remember years ago, you know, it was damn near impossible to get support help from Google, and it was only via email, and it would be sometimes, you know, days or even weeks before they would reply, and it was just a bitch. But now it's a lot easier to get in touch with Google support. And again, if it's for a legit business, don't be afraid of trying. Okay. So Jeff says, hold on a minute. I still got to get used to this platform, guys. Jeff Sass, what's up, Jeff? He says, 2 questions. What is the record for most F-bombs dropped by Marco in one rant? Well, apparently Ken has been counting. He says 87. That's fun.
Did you see the ROS Academy sales video, like, or webinar, the very, very first one? I bet it's like, it goes way higher.
Guys, listen, I don't do it purposely. It's just when I get excited, I get really animated, and it's like it just flows. And please excuse me, I don't mean to offend. Well, I have meant to offend people in the past. Let me change that. You guys in general, I don't intend to offend you, and if you are, please excuse me. Please understand that that's just my partners know that's me, because they have to deal with me on a daily basis, right? So they know Marco. So you guys just please excuse me, and next time, you know, if you come to one of my webinars or whatever, please put the kids away, and you might not want the wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever around while you're listening to me talk. Yeah,
I remember we had a mastermind webinar about 3 years ago, maybe 3.5 years ago, and Marco and I had you know, we're a little loose with our lips as far as some of the things we were saying, and one of the members posted like, "I've got kids in the room," and it was so funny because immediately after that, I put a parental guidance suggested, you know, explicit language like image or whatever graphic on the bottom of the header image for the page that we were hosting the webinars on. And that point forward, we always kept it to be like, hey, you know, this is keep your kids out. It's not safe for work type stuff. And that was really funny. I think it was Carolyn was her name. Anyways, so to carry on with the with real stuff here, guys, Jeff says, I know you mentioned this previously, but I couldn't find it. When reaching out to business owners in an effort to sell them the leads we are generating, what has been your more successful tactics for getting them to respond? This is primarily a cold email question. Jeff, that's a great question, and that's something we're going to be covering a lot in depth and actually going through real live tests and case studies and such for monetizing GMB assets. So we're going to be doing a lot of outreach stuff in the mastermind coming up over the next several weeks. In fact, that was supposed to be started this week. I'm a little bit delayed, but I'm going to be working on that a lot next week. I've got several assets that I need to start doing outreach for too. So, but to answer your question, what I found, and I spent a lot of time last year in 2018 doing prospecting and trying to do sales for traditional agency services. And I got really good at prospecting, getting the conversation started. As far as sales, I failed miserably. I think we spent like $18,000 between our salesperson and our VA staff, which was doing the, handling the cold email outreach and all that stuff. And I think we made like $6,000 in sales. It was ridiculous. But that in part is just because I think the local business market is so saturated with solicitation calls from marketing and advertising agencies. And so long story short, that's part of the reason we shifted back to the lead generation model, because it changes the dynamic entirely. And I know that's what you're asking about. So, but when it came to prospecting, I found the easiest thing to do are quick question type emails. There's a great book by the guy, the developer of quickmail.io. If you go to quickmail.io, it's a service that you can subscribe to it's like an email tracking service and all that. I personally like gmass.co better as an email marketing platform. But I started out with using quickmail.io, and there's a book by the developer. It's a real short book. You can get it on Amazon, Kindle, or I think you can get it in paperback too, but I got it on Kindle. It's a real short book. It's only like 30 some pages, I think. Really inexpensive. I think it might only be $1 or $2.99 or something like that. Go get it. Go find out go to quickmail.io and probably click through some of the links, and you'll find the guy's name, the developer's name, and then you can find the book on Amazon. And pick that book up, because I tested last year multiple types of cold email outreach methods for prospecting. And out of everything that I tested, and I tested David Sprague's stuff. David Sprague's got some really good tools, guys. There's no question. But he, as far as like his cold email his outreach programs and stuff, like I just had miserable success, and we gave it full on effort. I mean, for months, not just his program, but all different types of outreach methods. And what I found that produced the most success, especially dealing with contractors, was the quick question type emails. And that strategy is outlaid perfectly in that short little book by the developer of quickmail.io. His name is Jeremy something, I think. But anyways, just go pick it up, read through that book, and then start testing. And that's what I did, and it worked really, really, really well. And so that's where we're actually going to be testing in the mastermind. I'm going to be using a combination of the more mass email approach, which is what I was talking about with the quick question type emails, which all you're trying to do is solicit a response, a reply. That's it. No, you're not asking them to click through any links. You're not asking them to, you're not getting diarrhea of the mouth and dumping a whole bunch of information into an email. You just ask them a simple question that's kind of disguised as a lead for them. It's a little bit misleading, but not so, because you're going to present them with an opportunity. And so again, it's not unethical. Like I said, it's just a way to ask questions. For example, maybe if I got a tree service site or, assets that I need to monetize, I might contact, 10 or 15 different, when I was doing the mass prospect, I would contact, 50, 60 tree service contractors with these quick question type emails. Now I'm going to be doing a hybrid model that incorporates the video email process, which is, we have a training program that I developed that I've used for years, guys, to get results for prospecting and sales. And that's called the video lead gen system. And it's how to use video emails to get people's attention. It's a bit time consuming, because you got to record videos that are personalized to each person you reach out to. I'm trying to templatize that now to where it's going to be a lot easier and more efficient, and have a team that does the video editing and all that kind of stuff, so that we can turn it into more of a process, like an assembly line, to where we can do 10 or 15 videos in a short period of time, and then targeted emails out. But I'm still going to be using those quick question type emails where I might say like, quick question, are you guys accepting, or are you guys providing estimates for tree removal right now? And when they reply yes, that's the conversation starter. Okay, great. Would you mind if I sent you a video explaining what it is that I've got? Right? And then if they reply yes again, now they've given you permission to send them a video. And then you send them the damn video, which is a personalized video explaining what you got. And, hey, look, I got these leads coming in right now, right? And just, you don't show your assets, guys. You show call volume, or you show, the fact that you're generating leads. Show proof. Say, look, I really need somebody who can take these leads. If you're interested, let me know. I'll send a few of them to you for the next week, or I'll send you 5 leads or 10 leads or whatever your business model is good for. You say to them, I'll send you 5 leads for free, and then I'll follow up with you after that and find out if you like them, if they were good, genuine, valid leads that you'd like to continue that service. We can talk then. Stuff like that. It's just real simple little questions, guys. But the whole thing is, when I was testing all these I've tested all kinds of processes. And what I found was those quick questions where you don't drop a link in it. You don't ask them to click. You don't ask them to go to a landing page and fill out a survey or watch a video on your first email. None of that shit. You just ask them to reply. And that's a conversation starter. That starts the dialogue. Once the dialogue starts, then you ask permission to send them a link for them to click, which is just a video essentially. Right? You say, can I send you a video to explain what I've got? And if they say yes, now they're giving you permission. And then you send them the video link. And then they'll click on it and they'll watch the video. And then sometimes they will reply, sometimes they won't. But that's really the whole point. And again, video lead gen system was the course that we did on how to use video email. And then I'm going to be kind of mixing that with the more I'm trying to templatize that and make it to where it's a process to where it's not so time consuming to do those emails, although they're very, very effective. Okay. So again, this is stuff that in the mastermind, guys, we're going to be covering over the next several weeks. Okay. That's a great question, Jeff. Does anybody else have anything you want to mention?
The book in a second.
I'm sorry?
I post a link to the book in a second. I already got it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a great little book. All right, moving on. Martin says, have you had experience with WebFire 3.0 tool? No, Martin, when you said that, I clicked on it and I looked. I don't, so I can't really comment on that, and I don't have time to look through it right now. Perhaps if you remind me next week, I will take a look at that before. I might look through that when we're off this webinar today. So
hey, Bradley, those are all like those click. Well, what do you call it? The auto traffic.
It's like a click-through spam bot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tons of websites like that.
Okay.
The problem that I'm seeing, and by the way, they're working. And some are working better than others. I'm not going to say which one, because then everyone will run there and ruin it for me. And I don't want you guys messing with my money. At any rate, they are working. Go and test them out. But interestingly enough, what I found works the best is you did a course on it. It's only available in the mastermind.
Yeah.
And it's actually the way that you teach it becomes actually cheaper than most of these click-through spams or spam traffic networks.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting, right? Because you're targeting real people to come and visit your stuff. And these real people have a genuine interest in whatever it is that you're doing.
Correct.
And they're going to act way differently than the people that have to click on your link. Does that make sense? Right? They pay for it. And well, you paid for it. They click because then they get credits, and it just becomes crazy because they're not really interested in your stuff. They're only interested in theirs. Yeah. Now, since we're targeting real people with a real interest through Bradley's training, it becomes that much better, guys. Activity, relevance, trust, and authority. We're in trusted and authoritative to the max because we're inside Google. Right. Relevance because we're targeting whatever it is that we're targeting. I'm not gonna say anything because it's something that's on right now only available in the mastermind. And then activity on that link. It's relevant activity. People clicking on that link, going and acting the way that real people do. Some might not like it and bounce back. Many will, but that's what real people do, and that's what we're after.
Yeah, and I know what you're. I'm not going to reveal the method here either, but exactly what Marco was saying, because that is real, genuine traffic that Google knows has an interest in what you're sending them to. So, guys, when you're talking about activity and engagement, which is one of the primary ranking signals now, right, is engagement. It's not just blind engagement, right? Like, again, if you are trying to rank something locally and you're getting clicks from China and Russia and Korea and, you know, in UK and I'm talking about in the US, I'm just using this as an example, guys. But if you're getting a bunch of clicks from things that are non-relevant, either geographically, especially for local stuff, or non-topically relevant, in other words, it's just kind of like random traffic coming. Do you think Google counts that traffic as an engagement signal the same type and gives it the same amount of weight as somebody that is in the local area that's clicking from a local IP, likely from a mobile device that is intimately connected to them at all times, that they have a history of being interested in that particular type of content or service or product? Think about that, guys. Which engagement signal is going to be given more weight by Google? You already know the answer to that. And so it's not that these kind of tools and stuff can't produce some nominal results. They can. But if you want to get really good results and do it within terms of service, there are alternative ways to do it. And it's super, super effective. I mean, super effective. And so that's absolutely true.
I just want to be clear. Fiverr gigs, right? Fiverr traffic gigs, they get some results. These types of websites, the spam traffic, they get some results. But when you compare them all and compare them to the course that we have, it's night and day. It's just totally different because it's just targeted traffic. It's people that are targeted. I mean, to the geolocation, so that they interact with whatever it is that you're doing at that level, if that's necessary, and if not, then you can adjust to whatever it is that you're doing and get traffic for pennies on the dollar, guys. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's, again, topical relevance and geographic relevance, and you can combine both and get super, super good results for it doesn't take a lot of traffic, guys, to get good results when you have heavily weighted engagement signals, which is what that is, right? It only takes a few engagements to get significant results when you have a really targeted audience that Google knows about. All right. Anyways, we're going to keep moving. Sorry, I can't give you a better answer on that. Brian says, what is the backlog on GMB listings and MGYB purchases? I'm out about 4 weeks. Brian, you'd have to contact support. I don't manage any of that stuff. Sorry, just contact support. Just send us a ticket to support@mgyb.co, and we'll get it answered for you. Okay?
I was just talking to Rob about this to make sure, and we have to deal with whatever it is that Google decides. I mean, they were on the show. We don't control them. So we can't say it's definitely this or definitely that, or we'll have it in a day, in 7 days, or whatever. It takes however long it takes. Some of them are nearly impossible. I believe that Brian has already contacted support and gotten an answer. My thing is, if you go through support and then you come here, it just slows the process, because then I have to go reach back to support. That's what's going on, track it down, and then they all go and track it down and try to see what's going on when it has already been answered. So the only thing that I can add to this is, guys, we're not in control of this. We're trying to do what we can. And Brian, you're welcome to request a refund. If it gets too long, you're welcome to request a refund and try to find someone who stands behind the product like we do, 60-day guarantee, replacement. If it gets suspended within those 60 days, we offer a legitimate guarantee. Now, how long it takes to get it for you, that's another question altogether.
What's up, Daniel? Hey, man. The question you asked 2 weeks ago on Mastermind that we didn't get to because the training went so long, please repost that for tomorrow, because the mastermind webinar is tomorrow, and I did want to spend some time on that. It was about a GMB question you had, and we're going to have time. I'm going to be covering specific training tomorrow, but it will be a lot shorter because I just did the mastermind newsletter entry is specifically about that, so that we're going to do some video training on it tomorrow, but you guys will have the written process. You guys know how I do my process docs. Well, you're going to have the written process is the newsletter entry for that you're going to get in about 2 or 3 weeks whenever you get the next newsletter. So that means my training tomorrow, the video training, will be a bit more streamlined, so I should be able to get to your question. All right. I apologize I didn't get to that, man, and it's been weighing on me for almost 2 weeks now. So anyways, Quentin's up. He says, hello, my name is Quentin RAVENEL. I'm a full-time musician based in Charleston, South Carolina. Arthur Ravenel Jr. is a staple here. We've named a bridge after him that gathers 25,000 people every year in April to run or walk on the Ravenel Bridge. Is there any way to use my last name as leverage? That's a really good question. Yeah, I would think press releases would probably be a great way to kind of piggyback off of that name recognition. Because that's like essentially, it's a brand, right? Ravenel is a brand, right? So if you could use that, there's a strategy called newsjacking. Look into that, Quentin. Look into newsjacking. In fact, you could just do a Google search for newsjacking and find plenty of resources, Amazon books, whatever, that can teach you the strategy of newsjacking that I think would be perfect for that, for your what you're saying here, because of you have the same last name, as a brand that's well known in that area. I would use that newsjacking strategy as a way to get some press and some media. It's almost like clickbait, but in a proper way, in an ethical way, right? And so again, I don't do a lot of that stuff. I just haven't had the opportunity to, but I'm familiar with that strategy, and that's something that I think you could implement here. Marco, do you have any suggestions for that?
Entity relationship, man. That's what he'd have to do. Relate his name to the Ravenel Bridge name, so that when it comes in the, what do you call it, the Google auto suggest, right? So when people go looking for the Ravenel Bridge walk, the Ravenel Bridge run, Ravenel Bridge weekend, all of that stuff, your name comes up in there too. I mean, we've done that, right? Social conditioning.
Yeah, social engineering.
Yep.
Newsjacking. Go check it out. There's tons of information about it. There's the book. David Merriman Scott, I think, is the pioneer of that, or whatever, or at least the most well known. But you can find all kinds of information about this, free and paid. So I just spend some time researching that newsjacking, because it's something that I think you could implement and get some significant results that way. Okay. And by the way, go to mgyb.co to purchase press releases, and we'll publish them for you. They're really, really nicely done. Okay, Greg, what's up, Greg? You and I got a mastermind call tomorrow, Greg. Looking forward to it. We got a lot to catch up on. Urban Towing says, does SERP clicks work well for traffic to RYS, or is there something else you would recommend? Again, I'm not familiar with SERP clicks. If it's another CT spam bot or crowdsourced click-through thing, which I imagine it would be, yeah, it would probably produce some results. I don't know how much, but I would recommend, finding some better methods where you can actually buy or get real targeted traffic from real people that may have a genuine interest in your potential product or service. Guys, paid traffic is a good way to do that kind of stuff.
I actually went to SERP clicks and did the math, and it's like 14 cents per click. We can beat that through your method, can't we, Bradley? Oh yeah, absolutely. So absolutely. And this is real people targeted. Remember that. Activity, relevance, trust, authority. That's what you're after.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, we did, for years we did, Dan Anton had a product called crowdsearch.me, and we did it worked like gangbusters for a long time. Click-through spam was an engagement signal. I call it click-through spam, but that's when somebody does a search on Google, for example, keyword search. It could be a brand search, which is called a navigational search. Guys, you can go to our YouTube channel. You can just go to Google and search crowdsearch.me, and you're going to find the Semantic Mastery webinars. I've done 2 of them because we did one webinar, and then I think 2 years later we did another webinar because it was still working so well. And I explain in that webinar, in both of those webinars, at great length, what click-through spam is and why it works so well. And it was actually a method that I learned way back in 2011 from Ivan Budimir, who was my most influential mentor in the local marketing, digital marketing space, was Ivan Budimir. He's no longer in the space, but he was absolutely amazing. I learned so much from that guy, and he actually introduced that method to me back in 2011 and showed the Google patent. And it's not the actual official name of the Google patent, but he always called it site weight. Site weight. In other words, if all things being equal, if there were two sites that were identical, which we know is impossible, right? Pretty much. But theoretically, if two sites were equally authoritative, like they had the same amount of on-page optimization, the same amount of off-page optimization, but one site got navigational search queries, which now in the semantic web is incredibly important. What is a navigational search query? That's a brand search or a variation of a brand search, like brand plus keyword or brand plus phone, like for somebody looking for the phone number of a company, or brand plus location or brand plus map, so that people looking for how to get to that location or get to that company or that store or whatever the case may be. All these different, those are called navigational queries. And if all things being equal, there were two identical sites, competing brands, and one had navigational queries and the other did not, the navigational query site would outrank the other one hands down 2-to-1 every time. Every time. And it was tested over and over and over again. And that was because of the site weight algorithm or filter or whatever you call that shit. Again, I'm not the nerd like the patent nerd like Marco is. And Marco, that's a term of endearment, by the way. But and he introduced that way back in 2011. And the strategy then was to hire microtask workers to set up these little gigs, and you would pay microtask workers, 2 or 3 cents or something like that to go do a particular search, preferably with the brand mention, then find the link that you told them to find, click through, and then you would tell them, like, go find, copy and paste the third word of the 7th paragraph on that page into the answer box. And the answer box was their proof that they did the task that you assigned. And the reason why you wouldn't just tell them to, like, go click the link and then copy, like, because you want them to dwell on the page, and that dwell time counted as an engagement signal, right? So they would land on the page and then they'd have to hunt for that specific word or phrase or whatever it was that you told them to do that would make the answer. That would be the answer that means they solved the task that you gave them to do. And that would create the dwell time, potentially scroll. You might ask them to click through to another page. The task might be click through to the link, then click through to the contact page, and then leave a message or send this, whatever the case may be. You could set it up multiple different ways, but those were engagement signals way back in 2011, guys, and it moved the needle like almost overnight. The problem was, as soon as you would stop paying the microtask workers, within just a few days, your rank positioning could start falling again, because it was all about that engagement, those engagement signals. And guys, again, this was 8 years ago. Well, now that we've just been talking on this webinar alone about how important engagement signals are. So engagement signals are weighted even more now than they were back then. But now the engagement signals are weighted more if they're, because Google can track and knows its users and it's the user's behavior and their history. That's what I was talking about. If you can get engagement signals from people that are locally and or topically relevant to the content that you're having them engage with, then that's going to be weighted so much more. So what I'm saying is, again, like on a local level, if you can get people from a local geographic area that have a history for having an interest in that topic or that product or service, as well as being local, a handful of clicks from them can produce better results than dozens or hundreds of clicks from non-relevant and non-topically and non-geographically relevant clicks. Does that make sense? So the click-through spam, and that's what I called it because we were literally spamming click-throughs, isn't as effective as it is when you can get relevant audience to engage. Because Google understands its audience, guys. Google knows its audience because everybody's connected to Google all the time, right? So it knows what their history is and what their interests are and where they're located and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm getting at. As far as the click-through spam stuff, it does it for a long time. It was working really well. And Dan Anton's was I think the best bot that came out, which was crowdsearch.me. And for I think 3-4 years, I used it heavily. I was getting 50,000 credits per month, and I was using every bit of them. And it worked like gangbusters. But over time, it slowly started to stop working as well. And I know that service is still out there. There are potential uses for it, but it's not something that I would do to direct to a money site anymore. There are better alternatives now, in my opinion, which is what we've been talking about. We did some training about that in the mastermind a few weeks ago. So it's a good question, though. And I was worried we weren't going to have enough to talk about today, man. And look, we're almost up. That's awesome. Let's see. Think of how stupid the average person is and realize half of them are stupider than that. That should actually be how stupid the median person is, right? Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, Greg. Okay, Grant says it might be easier to just close, delete designed junk email accounts than unsubscribe endlessly. Yeah, but this is a I know what you're saying, Grant, but this is an email account that I've had for, God, 15 years. So it's not something I want to get rid of. But yeah, I know what you mean. By the way, I did all the heavy lifting. Now it's just a daily maintenance thing. Like if I see an email come in that's from something that I was unsolicited, I just go, I open it, unsubscribe, and then as soon as the unsubscribe is successful, I go back and hit the spam button. And again, most days now, guys, I might only get 1 or 2 spam emails. There are some days where I'll get 5 or 6 or whatever, but almost every day now, it's like just a bare minimum. So it's manageable now. It just took a little bit of time. Also, there's a service called unroll.me that can show, like, guys, go check it out. Go to unroll.me, especially any of you suffering from shiny object syndrome. And type in your email, and it'll take a few minutes to run, and it'll come back and show you how many lists you're subscribed to. And tell me it doesn't take your breath away. It's like, holy shit, how did I get some? It's just over the years you accumulate so many, you get added to so many subscription lists, either voluntarily or involuntarily, a combination of both, really. And if you go to unroll.me, it's amazing. It'll just take your breath away when you see how many email lists you're on, and you can start to systematically unsubscribe. Okay.
You're the nightmare of every email marketer.
Yeah. Well, now I am. Yeah. For a long time, but trust me, a lot of email marketers made a lot of money from me too. So, all right. Let's see. Walt says not an affiliate link. Amazon. Okay, so this is probably the quick. Right there you go. Grow your business with cold emails. Jeremy Chatelaine. That's correct. He's got an accent or whatever. It's awesome, guys. A really short book. Look at that. Well, it used to be cheaper, but $10, buy it, guys. It's worth it. 100% worth it. Buy it and read it. It's a great book. Anybody's doing prospecting, guys, hands down, that has been the best strategy for me that I've ever found. Okay. All right, keep moving. Grow your business with cold emails. Everything you need. There you go. Perfect. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Daniel, awesome. Guys, I am not whining about the GMB question. And I do have faith in SM Brian. I think he took offense to what you said, Marco. Just looking to start implementing, building out the local strategy, and certainly anxious to get moving. I totally get it, Brian. I totally get it.
Yeah, no, so do we. And I didn't expect or intend, again, to offend. I just come across that way. I was just explaining that it just takes time. We try to get it as quickly as possible. We know you guys are anxious, but there's only so much we could do when the beast keeps changing shit around.
Correct. Yeah, and that's one of the issues, guys, is again, we all have to keep changing our methods to get these things done, verified and such. And I don't even know what they're doing to do it. I don't care. Brian, I'm just like you. I place my orders too. I'm not kidding, guys. I place my orders just like you do. Now, I do have a little bit of pull sometimes when most of my orders are in queue still now because they're not critical. But sometimes, like for clients, for example, that have requested maps expansion, then I pull some strings to get them pushed forward a little bit. So, that's one of the benefits, I guess, of being the CEO. But for the most part, guys, I'm in queue just like you guys. It's not, you guys aren't waiting because I'm getting all mine done. Trust me, I'm waiting too. So. Awesome. Unroll.me. You're welcome, Grant. All right, guys, we got to wrap it up. Marco, you didn't drop an F-bomb on me, so I was unsure about the love. That was Brian again. Okay,
it's coming.
Brian, Marco, you got to say fuck just to make everybody happy once.
Yeah. Let me just close this off with this. Fuck Google.
All right. There you go. Enough said. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Mastermind webinar tomorrow. Don't forget, if you did not check out the Syndication Academy update webinar from last week, do it, guys. Super, super powerful stuff. I show you how to use RSS feeds there with geotagging. By the way, I'm doing a lot of testing with, I have it. No, I must have already closed it down. No, there it is, Rank Feeder. I've got it open. I'm not going to show my projects, but Lisa Allen's Rank Feeder, guys. I know the coupon is expired now. She actually extended it because of the Syndication Academy update webinar that I did last week. I talked about it in there, although the method that I showed was how to use feed burner feeds to create local geotagged feeds, and they're super powerful too. Not as powerful as the rank feeder feeds, though, because rank feeder feeds you can splice together and create static or sticky items, and then you can add the geotag and not just a specific geo coordinate, but you can add what's called a geo box, which is like a service area business. Super powerful stuff, guys, and I've been testing really hard for the last week now with the rank feeder stuff, and I'm seeing really good results. So again, I know the coupon that she gave is expired, but it's still totally worth it. It's super inexpensive, guys, for the elite subscription level, which I think allows you to create 1,100 rank feeder feeds, right? Guys, it's a set and forget. You set up a rank feeder feed one time and you let it go. It just runs, you know, for as long as you keep your subscription active, and you don't have to do anything else. And it will help to create co-citation, geographic, and topical relevancy on autopilot, guys. I'm telling you. And for the elite service, the elite subscription level, which again, I think is 1,100 feeds, it's $47 a month. It's a no-brainer. So if you haven't already picked it up, guys, go watch the Syndication Academy update webinar and go pick up the rank feeder subscription service, which is how you create those things. And I'm only telling you guys, you know, we don't pimp other people's products unless we truly believe in them. And I'm endorsing this because it's such a good product. And you can go to our website, semanticmastery.com. I think it's RSS-authority-sniper-3, I think. And you can find the webinar replay and go through that process if you want to watch the webinar where she talks about it. But honestly, you don't even need to watch the webinar. Just go pick up the damn service because it's really powerful. All right. With that, we're going to close it out. See you all next week. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Marco. Thanks, Chris.
Bye, everybody.